Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Soul Feng Shui. Today with us we have got Andrea. Andrea, I'm really sorry, I can't actually say your surname. I don't think I can pronounce your surname. So I will have to ask you to pronounce it for me or for us. So
Yeah, it's also difficult for me sometimes. Yeah, so my name is Andreas Batzilis, guys. Hi, everybody.
That's right. So I just didn't want to say it wrong. So welcome, Andrea. So today we have got Andrea, is a good friend of mine. We have met a few years ago. I can't remember exactly how many years ago, but it feels like it was a lifetime. I think it was a lifetime because we were both in, different lives that we probably are now. Probably we were different people as well. So we actually met at the time. I was working in a backpackers hostel. I had left fashion and I was doing there part-time, trying to figure out what to do with my life. Andrea, I think probably was similar situation with me as well, trying to figure out his life in London. And it was a really funny time though. We had a lot of fun in the hostel, meeting a lot of people, partying a lot. It was good. But the interesting thing is that I feel that we both grow and we both change our lives. And we do have the same interests as well. We are very into spirituality and healing and mindfulness meditation. So we have got that in common. But at the time, I don't think we didn't have the opportunity to talk too much about it. So, and also, you have learned so many more things since then. So it would be really lovely to hear from you. And also, another reason why I decided to invite you is because I've seen on Facebook that you were creating really interesting events which they seem to be quite different from the events that I've seen in the past. And one of the events was about dreams and healing within the dreams, using dreams. And the other one was about channeling. So anyway, just going back in time, Andrea. So what made you go to London to start with, even though now you are not in London, but at the time you are from Greece, and we met in London because you went there to London, you went to London, you were living in London. So what was the reason why you went to London at the time?
So yeah, start with hi everybody once more. I also feel so good to be here. So yeah, what made me go to London? Looking back then, I was just frustrated. I didn't know what to look around. But now I know that I was looking for a breakthrough. So before London, I used to live a normal life like a typical everybody, uh, living my life the way I was told to live it. So here, what happens is that we are born here from a certain family and we grow up inside a certain society. And it appears that our surroundings teach us ways on how to perceive and live our lives. So I'm also included into that sample of people. And what happened is that I realized during my 25th year that although my life seemed pretty bright and all right, that there was this pain deep inside that was always there, making like a really low vibration. So sometimes I couldn't even notice it. I got so used to that. But it appears that on year 2015, everything went wrong. So the financial crisis that was in Greece also hit me. So I lost my job. I had a really bad, really toxic relationship back then. And it appeared that I was stuck in a loop, that I couldn't achieve what I wanted to achieve. So I just escaped to London. In my mind, I persuaded my mind that I'm going to London to pursue a career in photography, in street photography. but it appeared that London had other plans for me. Yeah, so this is how I came into London, and in London is where I came in touch with what they now call spirituality. So I realized that in my life I had some fleeting moments that seemed like mystical experiences, and I realized that I felt the way I wanted to feel during these fleeting moments. So I started digging.
Mhm.
Went through a psychological crisis in which I doubted whatever I learned and who I thought I was. And this led me to what I do now, the events and the webinars that I organize online. They have to do with that. We try through these webinars to allow people to realize that there are many ways to live your life. And we try to explore together the latent mechanisms that make humans what they are and how they work and how we can make them work on our benefit so that we exit the victim state mentality that we were raised to be and evolved into the co-creation mentality where someone can consciously choose their thoughts, their feelings, how they feel, how they act, how they behave, and shape the life they want, stopping replicating their past over and over again. And this we try to do it using a big spectrum of techniques. It's more or less like a big mechanism that comes with parts from all religions and indigenous wisdom and ancient wisdom, and lots of self-observation. So we have developed some techniques that include breathing, observation, mindfulness, energy healing, channeling, so that we allow people to tap into their true potential and realize our true nature a bit at a time, as much as we can. But the most important thing is that we want to re-educate people to be focused and know that they have their power to save their world and that it is okay the way it is because it can always be another way and how we can do that.
Wow, it sounds like you were quite few breakthroughs by what you say, and that's what you went to look for in London, even though you didn't know. um, and could you tell us some of these breakthroughs? One of them you already mentioned, that was realizing that was always a sort of a deep pain within you, that you were not paying attention. But could you perhaps tell us a little bit more about the breakthroughs that you had and some realizations that you might have had in relation to yourself and life in general?
Yeah, so the one I most vividly remember is the first one, of course.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, at least, that had a deep impact into me. And as we said before, we are raised in a certain way of thinking and behaving. So I was raised in a way to blame others for my misfortunes, blaming others that I didn't get the job, blaming others that I didn't get paid for a job, blaming my partners for not understanding me, etc., etc. So when I first went to London, it appears that I was running away from something. So I took a hasty decision and organized nothing, So I went in London without even Googling first. What's up with London? You know? That's how fast I ran away. Yeah. So I faced an environment I wasn't used to, and this, in combination with many psychological stuff of mine that appeared and were brought to consciousness because of the harsh conditions. I stayed once more without a job, so my money ran out, and I had no money like to book some stays in the hostel. We met, and one thing led to the other. I got robbed, so I lost like everything. And for the first time in my life, I realized that actually I had no possessions. And the possessions I had in the hostel, I couldn't reach them, you know, because they were not allowed there. So I realized that many things that I identified myself with were not in my reach back then. So days came and passed during that situation. There were these days that I really had like no money, not even a penny to buy bread. So like I went starving and I sneaked inside the hostel and when nobody was there and I went like to the kitchen and started eating like the leftovers. And then I saw like the surveillance camera, and this is when it hit me for the first time. Like this huge gap was created in between my incessant thought stream and the observer. So it felt that I stepped out from me and observed the whole situation. And it was, from that point of view, it was not dramatic at all. It was like a bit humorous, you know? It's like this observer was telling me, like, look at that, like you're a creator. Look at the mess that you created, you know?
Wow,
So this is where I had my first break.
I found that really powerful, you having the thought that you are the creator and therefore look at the best that you created. And again, it's about going from victim mentality to more empowering mentalities and of creator, being the creator. Mm.
Yeah.
And then so you had that so that you were saying that was one of the first ones and also the one that had the most impact. So would you say that your journey really started there? Was that sort of this turning point for you, you think?
Not actually. Actually, this is when I realized that I already were in a journey. So the journey started, I can't have like a certain point in my timeline, but the journey started when I had so much emotional pain inside me, accumulated inside me, that I realized that something is wrong, but it didn't feel like the way we are supposed to live, like humans. So yeah, I can't locate this in my timeline, but I realized that I were in a journey back then, yeah, in the hostel.
Mm-hmm. And what did you do to face the emotional pain and to heal that? Which sort of things did you do at the time?
So I just started with meditation. So now I look back and I realize that I subconsciously I were trying to reach again the observer's state of consciousness. I used meditation to facilitate the detachment from my current situation and my self-image. So practicing in meditation brought more things, more realizations and insights maybe into me. And this thing, it appeared that this process, the meditative process, it made some room, it cleared some space so that new, fresh information can come. And I developed an interest in energy, in the energy world, so I went into energy healing schools. And then I topped up my meditation practice, my daily meditation practice, with practicing with different healing modalities, actually self-experimenting mainly, you know. Yeah, yeah. It appears that that's how it is now. One thing leads to another. One new realization leads to another piece of knowledge.
And at the moment, do you feel that? At the moment, do you feel that deep pain, you were able to heal that, or you still feel that there might be some residue from it and it's a continuous process, or do you feel that now you actually feel liberated totally from it, or perhaps comes
Some,
and goes?
hmm, I think in the process that it comes and goes.
Mm.
But the difference is that now I know when I am inside the process and when the process has stopped, when it speaks, it slows. So this helps into non-attachment.
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose, like my guess is that this is how life goes, and it feels like. So, for example, when people get enlightened and awaken, this doesn't mean that they stop facing problems,
Mm-hmm.
but might give them some hard feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I think it means that although they can have some hard feelings from the hardships of life, of the world, they do not cling on them, they do not attach on them, and they allow the emotion to be experienced from within them
Mm-hmm.
and liberate rather than hold it trapped like we are doing like a collective.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that
That's a really
pain
good
is pain
point.
anyways. Yeah.
So you feel much more.
Good and bad is like our
Mm.
associated.
I think that's one of the mistakes I guess a lot of people do is they try to either suppress the pain or trying to get rid totally of it, which often is
Mm.
quite impossible, isn't it? And I think learning to live with it, to be friends with it, is probably much more powerful because then it does give you some form of control, isn't it? So that's really nice.
Mm.
And which kind of, so in terms of meditation, from what I understand, the meditation you mainly use is more about reflection and just being present with whatever it is, right, with your thoughts. Are there any specific
Yeah.
techniques you use in terms of meditation?
Yeah. So there are plenty of techniques I use. It's like such a vast area in spirituality and in the humanity, anyways. That if you have plenty of time, like you can go on with meditation. Like you can never get bored. But I think the the best one for someone to start,
Mm-hmm.
so that they start to realize what to be in a meditative state means, is something like mindfulness. Anyway, it's a single pointed concentration. Is it in the breath? Is it in bodily awareness? In the details of the environment? It doesn't matter. The thing is that if we have a collective disease, this is that we have scattered thoughts. They are not focused. Uh, I mean, everything is energy, so thinking takes energy, and thoughts themselves are energy, anyways. So the main question I want to ask people when they are about to get into the meditative journey is that if you were millionaires, would you go around in your neighborhood like giving checks of thousands of dollars and euros to people that you don't know? Your answer would be obviously no. But the question then is, why do you do that with your thoughts? Because it's your energy, and because we are cut up from Mother Earth and from the sky, we wake up with a certain reservoir of energy, and how we use it till we learn to be connected 24/7 is of immense importance for someone's spiritual journey to use this energy for their breakthroughs, to realize what they need to relearn. So mindfulness is a really handy technique because you can do it anytime, anywhere, like no excuses, you know. I don't have time, I'm busy, there are no excuses because you can supplement anything you want into mindfulness. It can be your walk, it can be your breathing, listening to your spouse, you know, listening to your boss. This creates some circuits, some neural circuits in the brain that allow you to be more in the observer mode. And when you are in the observer mode, you save the energy, the emotional energy you attach to your thoughts. I mean, like it's like you are 50% lighter, anyways. And then things become clear so that you can control your thoughts. So mindfulness is pretty nice to start with something. There are like more advanced meditation techniques, like with yogic breaths, pranic breathing, that are designed to activate certain latent mechanisms inside us and raise our vibrations. But all of them can get you to realize where you can already be. So it's a personal process. And I could ask people like to use their intuition and go to what they tune in resonance.
That's a good point. That's a very good point, especially because we are all different, isn't it? And we all obviously different techniques will work best with different people. And in terms of going back to your workshops, I was really curious about the dream healing. I think it was healing within the dream workshop.
In the dream, yeah.
Yes. So could you tell us a little bit more about that? What happens on the workshop normally? Where did you get the inspiration from? And yeah, just sort of a general summary.
So yeah, the workshop that you mentioned, the actual title is "Awaken the Dreamer, Heal the Dream."
Okay.
This implies states of consciousness. So people, we are designed to work in different modes and to consciously choose which brain mode we need for certain circumstances. So in Western society, we are mainly into beta wave consciousness, which is a stress consciousness, it's the fight or flight consciousness. And it appears that we wake up, we tap into that automatically, and we live 95% of our day under stress, and most of the times unrecognizable stress. In dreams, this is not the case. When we dream, we are in theta state, which is also when we daydream, when we imagine things, when an artist, a musician channels and creates a solo. This is the consciousness they tap in. So, as we say, there are many consciousnesses, many states of consciousness, altered states of consciousness, from within which a human operates. We are not designed to work only in beta, and of course, we are not designed not to be able to stop all this ongoing mind chatter. we are designed to be like more mind free than we really are. Uh, Dreams is something that everybody experiences, but also in dreams, because we were never taught different, we are not conscious in our dreams. Not only we can't control them, we can't even remember them. So in this webinar, we teach people how to get back their dreams. But when someone does that, they realize that dreams are not just movies played from the subconscious to release their mind. there are many, many kinds of dreams. And in most of them, we have the opportunity to face personal traumas of ours that were inflicted during our lives and subconscious patterns that govern our lives, emotions that were trapped within our days, and consciously knowing that this can happen into dreams and consciously trying, putting an effort to remember them is most of the times more than enough to either release and transmute the trapped emotion, either bring into your conscious, subconscious patterns that govern your life, which is really, really important. And on top of that, uh, aspiring, actually taking back your birthright, consciously tap into the dream state. You can always do that during your day to receive guidance. There is no need to think that you are again like in a dream-like state with a 3D visual and having strong visualizations of realizing what you're doing. But you can close your eyes and go into a theta state, and that's within yourself. What's the solution to the problem, or what you need to work on, or why your project is not working, etc., etc. And with practice, you can get the answer. And you know that is the true answer because of the way you resonate with that. This is in New Age spirituality, they call it channeling, this modality. But what it actually is, it's consciously altering your state of consciousness through consciously altering the brainwave mode in which you are in, tapping into different areas of the brain, which means tapping into different tools and skills humans possess, but they do not remember that they possess. So in this journey, we go into the webinars, realizing what it truly means to be a human, and how to be the human you wish to be. And it's far, far more simple. In the webinars, most of the people at the end of the webinars realize its simplicity. Yeah, this is the message we try to convey to people around the internet these days with the confinements and the quarantines, where people are in a way are forced to look within, where people have collectively have reached the limit, realizing that this doesn't feel normal.
That's a very good point. And when you when you do these webinars with people, is there any part where you get them to experience going within themselves and finding those answers? So they actually get to experience that as well, do they?
Yeah, of course. So this actually happens a multitude of times during the webinar, because we believe that the only way to understand, to deeply grasp into something, it's the experiential way. So it's another thing for me to say something to you, even if it resonates for you and you totally get it. And it's another thing to get it also besides the mental, to also get it into an emotional state, to get it, to get the feeling in your body, to get it into your expanded awareness. So how we start when we're gathered for a webinar, we start with a mini channeling. So what happens is the way I experience life myself is with a knowing that separatedness is just an illusion of the mind. And knowing that there is a unified field of energy that infuses everyone and connects everyone with everyone. And imagine, like, all of us are far more intelligent than one of us. So imagine there are all the potentials, all the potential information and knowledge that resides in this field. In science, they call it the quantum field. They apply to it the same properties that we described, the unified field that keeps their information and knowledge of whatever has been, whatever is, and all the future potentials. This is amazing.
Wow.
Wow. So what happens is we start with a channeling,
Mm-hmm.
and we try to facilitate the whole webinar while being in a state of consciousness, in a alpha to theta state of consciousness, so that we reside into this unified field of knowledge, and we don't have a set up plan of what to say. We start with a prologue of why we are all here and why it is important for people to tap into their mechanisms, to tap into their potential. But this is not a fixed text. It's what comes, because different groups have their different energies. So after this small prologue, we'll go and briefly explain the technicalities of how humans work, and then is where we go into action. We start from small tasks, mainly like a nice exercise I have for people is like, I ask of them to find their most frequent thought pattern for their week. And when we do that, we sit together into meditation, contemplating, only focusing into this thought pattern of ours. And all the emotions it gets, and it becomes so intense. So people realize how caught up they are emotionally and mentally into their thought stream and its effects during their day without realizing the effect on their health because they're busy. So yeah, this is the first breakthrough that everybody has. They are the realization of how much energy is needed for something that is not healthy for us. They come to see the surrealism into their lives there, you know? And it's so fast. You just need to point it, you know? It's there. It's so easy. And after that, we do a group meditation all together, an active meditation. We use guidance to visualize. So it's like an energy healing meditation, and we visualize different visualizations to activate latent parts of the DNA in the brain and energize parts that need to be energized. So it has a collective guideline, but then we allow people to go with the flow, so it becomes personalized for everyone. We allow them to play around with their imagination and their visualization to see that when they pay attention, what you imagine has a tremendous effect on your being. So this is where the second breakthrough happened.
It sounds very profound and very quite deep actually, and is interesting because the exercises you use, they seem to be actually quite simple in a way, but they sound so effective. You really kind of go to the root of the problem straight away, which is amazing, really impressive. And I guess that a lot of people probably they have really profound realizations just by that first exercise, just paying attention what the main thought pattern is during the week. And Andrea, do you normally are you on your own delivering these workshops, or have you got someone with you? Have you got a team?
Actually, I'm on my own, but I get lots of support and lots of knowledge sharing and practice sharing from my partner, from my life partner, Ria.
Okay.
So she's also into this path, and we share knowledge. You know, in a way, sometimes it feels like that each one of us reads a book. So for me, it feels that I read two books in once because yeah, she has like nice filters, so she transfers to me the critical knowledge that that are in divine timing for me to go into breakthrough. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, actually, there technically I arrange it and organize it myself by myself, but psychologically and emotionally and spiritually, yeah, there is
There's
lots of
also a
help,
support.
visible and non-visible. Yeah, for sure.
Because you mentioned a few times when you were talking about the workshop, and you mentioned a few times that it felt like, I can't remember exactly what you said, but it felt like you were doing the work, delivering with the workshop with someone else. So I was wondering if that's someone physically there, or if it's some entity or energy that you might tap in for help.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, or maybe it's something just within you.
The truth is that Lucy, we are never alone anyway. And believing that we have a personal opinion or a personal realization or a personal gift or a personal talent is nothing more than an illusion. All of us, we're just channels. We are here like antennas, receiving information, knowledge, how to say it, from this unified field that we were talking before, the quantum field. Uh, Picasso's Guernica was from this field. Nietzsche's Antichrist was from this field. The Bible is from this field. Carlos Santana's solos are from this field. We are just the intermediates. There is no art that belongs to the artist. In the same way that there is no thought that belongs to the thinker. Even if you had a thought that can save millions of people and improve their lives, it was channeled through us, it was not created from us. The same way, when we have bad thoughts for ourselves or other people, it's really good to realize that we just tuned in our frequency in their low vibration, matching the low vibrational thought forms that travel in this unified field. So do not take it personally, guys, and not blame yourselves for bad thoughts, bad deeds. You are just tuned in into the wrong frequency. It's a matter of resonance anyway. So yeah, when I say we, I really hope and wish that I say we like a collective soul, like a humanity. I try to do my best not to allow my personal uh, social programming and my preferences and my traumas and everything to get involved with the process. And for this to happen, we have to consciously tap into a theta wave brain mode, the same that lies with the dream state. And when these kind of things happen, yeah, you are urged to say we do that and we do the other, because you know that the information that is perceived comes through you. It's not that you create it. That's why they call it co-creative process. So yeah, in most, not in most, in all times of our lives, there are unseen energies that bear awareness and consciousness, and of course sometimes wider and higher than human consciousness. People during history, they called them like Saktis, angels, demons, anything, trying to give form to the formless, but what they were actually coming in touch with either in visions, either in channeling, is just energy not being able to be seen and perceived from the human brain. And all energy has consciousness, all energy has awareness, realizing that it exists. Information and knowledge is also energy, everything is energy. So when in theta state, you just tune in and you can consciously tune in into the vibration you want. So you can tune into the vibration of love. And you speak with love. It's like love expresses herself through you. This happens with ideas also. This happens with speech. This happens with all the techniques people have. Is it yoga? Is it meditation? Is it architecture? Is it science? It's all the result of channeling this higher knowledge, this higher wisdom from this unified field into the earthly plane. So, yeah, Luz, it was always we. It's just that we now understand it.
That's really interesting. That reminds me as well of, I went to see a talk by a Native American, and he was in London at the time, and he was talking about, I can't remember which tribe he was from. He was American, but I can't remember which tribe he was from. And he was talking about the language, and you know, the language, they are trying to revive the language, because obviously when there was colonization, they were not allowed to speak their language. So the language kind of got a little bit lost, but now they are trying to revive that again. And he was telling how the language really gives you an idea of a country or a nation thinks, and also their own way of seeing things and experiencing things. And a very interesting thing that he said is that is on his tribe, there is no word for me or mine or I. And I found that so mind-blowing. And the only words they have is ours or us. And then there was another word as well, I can't remember which one, that they didn't have. Jealousy, they also didn't have the word for jealousy. But I just thought, but you, obviously, you know, you don't have a word for jealousy if you don't have a word for me or mine, you know, or I, because you think that you are everyone and everyone is you, then obviously then there is not going to be a word for jealousy, because you feel that whatever that person is, you also have, and whatever that person is experiencing, you're also experiencing. So I thought that was really, really interesting, and that reminds me of what you're saying right now as well. So yeah, I mean, it's amazing. The only thing I have to say, actually, my last question, actually, I've got two questions. My last question is, when are you writing a book?
When?
When are you going to write a book?
So, yeah, actually, I'm in the process of that.
Okay, because I think there is a book there. In there. I can see a book, you know. I think because what you're saying, you know, so is so powerful, that sometimes it's something that needs to be read, because it's something that you need to, as you're talking, and it's nice for people to just have opportunity to just stop and really think about it, because it's really powerful, I think. So I think a book really will be a really good way for you to put out there everything that you have in there. And I'm sure that there is much more. If we had time to talk, you probably would carry on with a lot more information, which is amazing.
So yeah, that's right. I don't know if this was an intuitive guess, but I'm in the process of writing a book, which of course is a product of the channeling mechanism we were talking before. that will involve channeling from this higher intelligence on giving people a new description on certain themes of our society. For example, what it means to have will of power, what it means to be socially accepted, what it means to be governed, what it means to have laws, and how we can transcend all these limitations. And it will be in articles, and each article will be combined with given meditations from the source that activate latent circuits in our brains and mechanisms so that we can rewrite our history. Samples of these articles that will be in the book are uploaded into my fresh Facebook page. I just started the Facebook page last month. That
What's it
includes,
called?
it's called Ascended Vibes.
Oh, nice. Oh, I think I have already liked the
I
page
just
actually.
invited you.
Yes.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I'm not very good with social media. Very rare. I rarely go to my Facebook. But I will definitely put the details below the video so everyone can have a look into, and obviously like the
Great,
page as
great.
well.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, so this is a new project, so fresh. And as said before, it will include written channelings and recorded channelings, either voice recording or video recording of samples of the upcoming book, which will include ways to transcend our limitations, if it's in. Yeah.
Very good. Very nice. And I was also thinking that, I think it's really important as well to have men in this field, because there is, I think, from my perception, there are probably more women than men doing this kind of work, spiritual work, healing work. And I think it's really important to also have men doing it. And because, there are so many other men as well, um, that for one reason or another, they might find it a bit more difficult to get in touch with their emotions because, conditioning again. So I think that's quite a good thing for that as well, to have sort of a man more, not perspective, but energy. No, not quite sure what I'm trying to say, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So yeah. So Andrea, we are finishing our chat. Is there anything else that perhaps you would like to say? Any message you would like to pass on? If there is anything else, feel free to do it now.
Yeah, I would like to say to everybody that is watching that I know that we're going through hard times into unfamiliar terrain, and we were not taught how to go through all this situation. Collectively, it's such a troublesome era for everybody because it is time for us to question what was not questioned and for the first time to decide how we want to continue because till now we were riding the momentum, we were riding the wave, not realizing where we were going like humanity. Now we know we are about for the first time in our collective history to consciously choose where we want to go. So I want to say to everybody, for sure, do not despair because this is nothing but the passing of greed of humanity. And yeah, do not despair, but this time choose wisely because not because there is a threat coming or responsibilities coming, only because all of us have the potential to be wise. It's okay to put it in real life action rather than keeping it in literature books this time. Yeah, so guys, being, let's stop all of us being observers. It's time for us to stop being
Action.
passive and be active, but
Yes, totally.
an effortless action, an
Mm.
effortless action,
Totally
not
agree with
reaction,
you.
style action. Yeah.
Totally agree with you. And yes, so much needed that message right now. Thanks, Andrea. It's been amazing talking to you. And
Thank you so much.
so I will also put, just so everyone, I'll put Andrea's Facebook. The best way for people to get in touch with you would it be through your Facebook, Andrea?
Yeah, it will be through my
Okay.
Facebook.
So I will do that. I'll put the Facebook below, and then obviously if you do want to find out a bit more about Andrea's work or get in touch with him, you can do so on Facebook. And that's it for now. Hopefully we can catch up at some point soon, maybe when the book is ready, that we can have another conversation. That would be amazing. And thank you so much,
Yeah.
Andrea. Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot, Luz. It was my pleasure. Bye bye.
And just stopping the